taking a peek at the multimedia screen for the Chevy Equinox. Now, there are technically two different screens that are available. It's either going to be a smaller 7-inch screen or this larger 8-inch screen. Pretty much identical functionality, you just get that extra inch, which is always a nice thing. Now, this is going to be the base home screen that you're looking at inside of the vehicle. You've got what media is currently playing, factory navigation, hot button tray along the very bottom, and then swipe across in order to get to different apps on top of that. But let's dive through. I'm going to show you everything that you need to know. So I did mention, this is going to be your multimedia screen. You can push the home icon there to get back home, or press the home icon there in order to get back home instead. So very straightforward, but I mean, beautiful. Nice and simple. But you've got a hot button press to get to your music, your phone, navigation, what's currently going on. So if you have any messages that are available, so notifications in the vehicle. So as of right now, USB stick was inserted, SD card, and things like that. You've also got what's going on with your 4G, so your LTE connection. So the vehicle does have a wireless hotspot, and it's going to give you a flexibility of connecting a number of devices for sharing your data. So really useful. If you don't want to rely on your phone data, you can go through the vehicle data instead. But you can change out the name, Wi-Fi password, and a few other things. But moving into the first screen, which is going to be our media. So you've got a series of different options that are available. So Sirius XM, FM, USB, and then more. If your phone was hooked up, it would show you that as an available option as well. But moving back, you could easily jump between any of these options. And I mean, listen to this. I mean, this is like car-shakingly amazing. And I mean, as you saw there, it's not even really turned up that loud. So love the audio system, and that's because this is the upgraded 7-speaker Bose sound system you're going to find inside the vehicle. I do have the treble and mid-range cranked a little bit, so I'll show you those settings in just a second, but really good audio inside of this thing. Now, let's say if you were on FM, let's say if you were on FM, AM, whatever the case may be, you could easily save presets there on top of that. So once you've tuned to whatever station you want, all you're going to do is press and hold, and that's going to save the preset for you. So you can easily tune. You can tune this way if you want to, pressing the button there. You can press the button there if you want to. You can tune this way and type in a station, exit out once you've entered it in. And then you've also got the flexibility of pushing the voice command prompt.
What would you like?
If you wanted to tune stations that way. So you've got a ton of options. And then, as I mentioned, in order to save a preset, you just press and hold and you're set to go. If you look at, let's say, Sirius XM first, series of other options that are available there. So changing stations, play, pause, whatever the case may be. You've got generic sound settings, and this is generally going to be a good setup. So your bass cranked a little bit, mid-range balanced out, and your treble dropped down a tiny little bit. Gives you some pretty clean audio. You can also look at your balance and fade. So if you're the only one in the vehicle versus a full car load, you want to be more in that center position instead. Back out. You've also got browse, so you can also look at stations, so essentially in different category views that way instead. Easily selecting, ooh, great song. And then you can also look at some additional settings specifically for Sirius XM. So you can subscribe, you've got listener settings, so big benefit there is that you can block explicit content, reset tuning, tune to start, etc. You can manage system settings on top of that, so your location ID and for your radio. You can contact Sirius XM and then just look at some basic policies on top of that. So very straightforward. And then if we were to go to FM, exactly, it gives you the exact same settings. So equalizer, balance, fade, etc. USB, same idea. You can browse if you've got different playlists, artists, and categories, songs, and things like that. And back out. So very straightforward, and that's the basics of your media. Moving into phone. So as of right now, as you can see there are no phones that are currently connected. And setting a phone up is very straightforward. So all you're going to do, connect phone. Oh, helps if you hit add phone. There we go. We're looking for myChevrolet. Perfect. Pins match up. So we're going to pair. Do we want to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? Yes, we're going to allow that. Perfect. And we're connected. Now, one really nice thing about the screen that we're looking at here is that it does have wireless Apple CarPlay. So we're just going to hit use CarPlay. CarPlay connected. There we go. And we're just going to connect through. Perfect. As you can see there, series of other options that are available now. So you've got your phone first to connect. So if you've got multiple phones connected to the vehicle, we can select who's going to get connection priority. Look at secondary phone, Apple CarPlay when the phone is connected, yes or no. And we hit back and our phone's connected. So if we back out, launches us right into CarPlay there. So phone's connected. You've got what's currently going on with Apple Maps. You've got Google Maps. You've got Waze that can all get used right through this screen. But I mean, look at that. So nice. Along the top, you've got current time, your connection for your phone, what map application was opened up last. So as of right now, that's the Google Maps icon. If we were to open up Apple Maps instead, it changes it out. This is whatever media you were listening to last. So whether that's podcasts, audiobooks, music, Hoopla, which is a radio app. So you can easily look for different options this way if you want to. Really nice. You've also got your phone or whatever random application was open last. So your phone was opened up last there. If you had your calendar opened up, press the button there in order to be able to get to your home screen. There you go. Hop back in, or you can just do a simple swipe across as well. But it is nice because you've got Apple Maps, you've got Google Maps, and you've got Waze. So if you don't want to rely on factory navigation, you don't have to. And very straightforward. It works, honestly, the exact same way, with the exception, there's no pinch to zoom. So all you have to do is plus and minus this way in order to be able to zoom in and out. Back home, it's the same idea with Google Maps. So if we hop in there, no pinch to zoom, but we can move around, hit the bottom there, zoom in and out if we want to. Easily search for addresses, go for different settings, so things like route options if you wanted to avoid highways, toll roads, and things like that. You can adjust the volume as well, and Waze, the exact same idea. So it's very straightforward in order to be able to connect this system, pressing this button there, or you can just press home in order to get back to the main screen there instead. Then options, swipe across, you can connect to Apple CarPlay again, launches us right back in. And now on your phone, if you go into your settings, hop into general settings. So you're going to go settings, general, CarPlay. You've got your vehicle there. So you've got Chevrolet. So we're going to connect there. You can customize the launcher, toggle CarPlay off, or forget it. So if we go to customize, let's say if you have a tendency, watch this, to listen to your podcasts, we can do a drag and drop. If you're a big fan of your audiobooks, you can also do a drag and drop. If you're never going to use calendar, you can get rid of that. Google Maps, whatever the case may be, and it actually removes it from the tray, but it keeps it added in. So if you ever want to add things back in, you can just press the plus button there, and then you can do a drag and drop in order to readjust it. If you've played around with it too much, you can reset along the very top, reset home layout, and 3, 2, 1, it's reset us back to our factory default screen there instead. So it's very straightforward setting up the phone. Hopping back home, very straightforward. You can hop into your phone again there, which launches us into CarPlay connected to your phone. So you don't technically have to connect to CarPlay if you don't want to. You can easily toggle it off. If we were to go back to our phone there, toggle CarPlay off, it's going to kill CarPlay, and then it's going to connect over Bluetooth. So if you wanted to listen to your media that way, make phone calls and things like that, you would have that flexibility. So as you can see there, we're just connected that way instead. So it's very straightforward, but very straightforward setting up iPhone devices inside of the Equinox. Next up, setting up an Android device is the exact same process. Hop into phone, it's going to launch us right back into the iPhone. So what you're going to do, you're going to go home, into settings, phones, and then you've got a few options. So you can connect to the existing phone, or you're just going to add a phone. And then on your phone, you're just going to go to your Bluetooth and just make sure, pull up available devices. Perfect. PIN numbers match up, which is perfect. There we go. And Android, look at that. Do we want to allow access to our contacts, messages, etc.? We're going to hit no there, just because this is a demo vehicle. So I'm not connecting. We can delete it easily. And then obviously, if you said yes, you'd have access to all of that information. So as you can see there, we're connected. Now, Android Auto. Do we want to enable? Yes, we're going to continue. 3, 2, 1, fully connected. Beautiful. And very similar to the iPhone side, this thing is a wireless connection on top of that. So very straightforward in order to be able to connect. And then, I mean, you see here, Google Maps, beautiful, stretch it across the screen, pinch to zoom, unlike what we saw on the iPhone side of things. So this actually has pinch to zoom capability. You can search for addresses. You can also look at your different traffic settings, route options, so things that you want to avoid. So very similar to what we saw on the iPhone as well. Along the very bottom, you can see what's going on with your current time, as well as your connection status. If you wanted to activate your Google Assistant, you can do that. And one thing I didn't point out, If you press and hold the steering wheel button, you can also launch into either your Siri or Google Assistant. So you've got that flexibility, which is great. You can button press in order to get into podcasts, hop into maps if you want to, press this button in order to get back to your little split screen home screen there, and then button press there in order to get to a series of available settings. So you can see there, you've got podcasts, different settings, game stacks, and things like that. So a ton of different options available. You can press home in order to get back to the home screen, launch back into Android Auto as well. So it's very straightforward. Now, I mean, if you see here, you don't have quite as many things. So this phone actually does have Waze installed, but I mean, as you can see there, Waze is not showing up as an available option. But the phone definitely does have Waze there. So unfortunately, no support, just on the Google Maps side of things. But I mean, realistically, Google Maps is great. And then you still do have the flexibility of using factory navigation instead. Now on our phone, if you go into settings, search for Android Auto, you can connect through to Android Auto, and then look at your connected car, previously connected cars, and you can also customize the launcher. So very similar to what we saw on the iPhone side of things, you could customize how these things look. But the downside, though, is that if we were to drag and drop any of these options, it doesn't dynamically update them. You actually have to get out of Android Auto, launch back in order for any changes to take into effect. So you still can customize it a little bit. You just don't get quite as many options that were available on the iPhone side, and it's not dynamic, unfortunately. But still is available there as an option, which is great. You can go back, press your buttons there, go back home. If you hop into settings, you've got both phones that are connected. So you press the little icon there. First to connect. So if you have multiple phones connected, who's going to get connection priority? Do we want one acting as a second phone? Turn off CarPlay, etc. Moving back, you can see both phones there. We can connect through, disconnect, and that's disconnected it. Or you can forget the phone completely in order to remove it from the vehicle. That's the same way for both phones. So if we just go forget, it's remove both phones from the vehicle. So it's that easy setting up Android and iPhone devices inside of the Equinox. Okay, next up, moving back, and let's go back home. So that was the basics of your phone. Looking at factory navigation. So equally as straightforward, you've got your basic navigation there. Series of different navigation settings. So do you want to be 2D, 3D, etc.? Show different things on maps. So do you want to show fuel, restaurants, fast food, parking, etc.? Traffic events, so you can see what's currently going on at different road closures, which is kind of nice. Display live traffic as well. Look at different settings. So, I mean, nothing too crazy. Like this one here is nice because you can set up your home or work address. And big benefit there is that you could press the voice command prompt and say navigate home.
Like, okay.
So you could say navigate home, navigate to work, whatever the case may be. And that's just based off of whatever address you've looked for there. Map preferences, do you want to be 3D with your buildings? Auto zoom means it's going to zoom in and out as we get closer to the destination. Route preference, do you want the fastest or the most eco-friendly route? What do you want to avoid? So highways, unpaved roads, tunnels, etc. So you've got quite a few options that you can adjust out. Navigation voice control, so you can adjust what's going on with your navigation control volume. Do you want to get full prompts, strictly a tone, or nothing happening whatsoever? So, I mean, benefit there is obviously if you don't like to get those messages like upcoming turn, whatever the case may be, you could easily toggle it off. Traffic preferences, so do you want it to automatically reroute if a faster route's available? Do you want it to ask you before rerouting, or do you want it to never search for better routes? Ask before rerouting is typically a good idea, but matter of preference. Series of different alerts that are available as well. So do we want road safety alerts and traffic cameras on top of that? More or less having Waze right installed in the vehicle, which is great. Fuel grade preferences, so if it's searching for a gas station, are you looking at regular, mid, or premium fuel prices? You can look at your history to clear out destinations or any searches that you've made. So if you're selling your vehicle, whatever the case may be, you can adjust it there. And then basic about information, so you can see what navigation version you're using, look at your terms and conditions, etc. Also edit out your destinations, so no destinations that were searched for as of yet. And we'll get to a few of those other options in a second as we find a route. So you can also, this way, you can do a pinch to zoom, and I mean the screen there, fully responsive, which is great. It's really nice. Nice pinch to zoom capabilities. Push the button there. Pressing in order to see your current location. You can save it out if you want to as a favorite. Really straightforward. All right, next up, searching for an address. So you can manually type in that way if you want to. You can look at favorites, fuel, coffee, ATMs, etc. So it's kind of nice because you've got the flexibility of being able to find places this way instead. But one really nice thing is that if you wanted to, you could also press the voice command prompt.
What would you like?
Navigate to Tim Hortons.
Okay. Searching for Tim Hortons nearby. Finding more than one match. Because it may take you a while to choose, please do so manually from the display.
There we go. And we can go, you can save it as a favorite, you can call if your phone is connected and look at available routes. So if there were different routes that were available, you can select whatever one you want to. Just going to hit go.
Please proceed to the highlighted road.
Thank you. New destination started. So we're straightforward there. You can see what's currently going on with your current turn-by-turn directions. You can edit out as well if you wanted to, get rid of certain directions. So if it's kind of making you go one way you don't want to go, pressing back in order to launch in. You can also mute out your navigation prompts. So as you go to different turns, it's not going to tell you where you are. So it's very useful there. Pushing this button now brings us back to this, and big one, you can avoid certain things on the route now. So if you wanted to avoid your highways, toll roads, things like that, you've got that flexibility. You can also edit out your destination. So as of right now, our end destination is Tim Hortons, but maybe we want to stop for gas along the way. You could look at different fuel stations are available. If you like Petro-Canada, we're going to go to Petro-Canada. We're going to add it to the trip. So it's got us going to Petro-Canada first, and then we're going to go to the last route there. So if we zoom out, we can see the different routes that we're taking in order to get to where we want to go. So it's really nice that we've got that available as an option.
Route guidance is now finished.
Cancel the route out. Very straightforward there. And then, same idea, we can go plus, minus, etc. to get back to where we were. And then if you accidentally cancel the trip, you can see resume trip. So we can just bring the same trip back.
Please proceed to the highlight. Route guidance is now finished.
Very straightforward. But you've got a few different ways that you can search for addresses. Like you can type in addresses manually if you want to. You could use that voice connection prompt instead. And honestly, like I do recommend getting used to the voice prompt. So searching by voice instead, definitely the way to go. But I know it's a little bit of info there, but that's how you use factory navigation inside of this thing. Super straightforward. Now, on this screen, we hop back in. Let's go. So again, we've got our main screen there. Shooting across, you can hop into your audio, jump into your phone navigation and camera. So you can see you've got a front view, back and forward. You can zoom in one way or the other as well, which is kind of neat. You can look at a side view there as well, so seeing your side view mirrors. Press back out there. There's a hitch view. And then obviously when you're in the hitch view, other things just won't work properly. So you can see different views that are available as you go, whether or not you get the navigation guidance prompts and things like that. So honestly, I do recommend just keeping this one on because like as you're cranking the steering wheel, it's going to adjust, letting you know where you go, or you can just go old school and say you're doing it yourself. Very straightforward. Full screen view, back to the split, but pretty neat. And then just pressing your back button there. Next up, Wi-Fi hotspot, which we've already seen. So you do have a wireless hotspot that's inside of this vehicle. You do need a data-only plan in order for that to work though. Series of different settings that are available. Do you want to change out your date and time? So automatic update. And some of these things are grayed out because you're in automatic mode. So if you were to turn auto mode off, you can then adjust the timeout yourself. And that's the same idea with the time zone. So if you wanted to adjust your time zone, you can do that. If you prefer military time, so that 24-hour mode, you've also got that flexibility. You can change out language. So if you want English, Spanish, or French, different options for phones, which we've already seen. Wi-Fi network. So if you wanted to update at home, you've got that flexibility. You can easily just connect out. Look at privacy information, device remote access. So you do need to have your myChevrolet app hooked up on your phone in order to be able to use this. But it is a great feature. You can remote start the vehicle and do a number of other things right through your phone instead. Looking at your display mode, auto mode means it's automatically going to flip between a daytime or a nighttime mode, just depending on how bright it is outside. So you can either permanently lock it out to day mode, permanently lock it out to nighttime mode, or let the vehicle determine which mode you should be in. Or you can turn the display off. Button press to bring it back to life. Different options for sounds, so your startup volume and then your touch feedback, so beeping that you get. As you go, if that drives you nuts, you could turn it off. Voice, so as you press the voice command prompt.
What would you like?
So that's the voice command prompt there. So
Speech session canceled.
do you want confirm more or confirm less? Definitely recommend confirm less. Do you want it to have informative, short, or auto? Short, I honestly recommend going that route. Feedback speed. Do you want it talking, slow, medium, or fast? Do you want to be able to allow prompt interruptions so you can interrupt the prompts as you go? We'll say no to that one. Friendly prompts, yes, no, and then also tutorial mode. So that means that you're going to get all of the different prompts that are available there, and it tells you what you can and can't do. I honestly just recommend keeping that turned on until you learn what you can actually do inside of this thing. You can look at your different favorites. So your audio favorites, manage your different favorites out and things like that for your audio, for your phone, and for your navigation. Back home again. Oh, and you can also, set number of favorites? Ooh, cool. So you can select, up to 40 individual presets. So really useful if you're an audiophile, and you saw there it's a mix of AM, FM, Sirius XM. So I just recommend going for the max version. You can schedule in updates to see what updates are available. Yes, no. Look at some basic vehicle preferences, basic about information, running applications, and then you can also return the vehicle back to factory settings. You can disable different apps. So if you don't want to use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay whatsoever, you could disable those things if you want to. Different apps as well. You could look at your audio settings, which we've already seen. So all of our different tone settings, managing devices, etc. It's kind of neat. You can get to some different options, different places. Climate control. Do we want the auto? Oh, that's kind of neat. So 3 individual settings for auto modes. So do you want it to be a low, medium, or high for how much airflow is going to be in the cabin as you go? And then do we want it to auto defog? Yes, no. Definitely recommend keeping that one turned on. myChevrolet is that little phone app, the phone app that's available. You do have a few years that are available right from the factory, depending on how you do it. And then you've also got the option of adding on and just go year to year as well and prepay at that point. Different options for phone. So do you want your phone number showing up? Privacy mode. Do you want to sort your contacts and things like that? Sirius XM, which we've already seen all of these basic settings. And that's the basics there. Next up, series of vehicle settings. So rear seat reminder. With that one turned on and you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to let us know that we should double check the back seats to make sure we didn't forget somebody back there. Air quality, which we've already seen. Collision detection systems are an interesting one. So forward collision, if a potential collision is happening in the front end, it's going to give you an alert and it's automatically going to brake. It's just going to give you an alert or nothing's going to happen. I mean, good safety setting to have, so definitely recommend at least having the alert, but having it being able to auto brake is a very useful setting to keep on. Pedestrian detection, same idea. So if there's a pedestrian in front of you, it can automatically slam on the brakes, do nothing if you want to, or just give you an alert. Same idea, you don't want to be hitting people, so you want to be going for the alert as well. Adaptive cruise notifier, if we've got the adaptive cruise system going. Lane change alert, and same idea, rear cross traffic alert. And one nice thing is that as you go through all of these different settings, you can toggle any of these safety settings off. If you really don't want to use them, you could do that. But having the blind spot system turned on is really useful. So that's going to highlight on our side view mirrors, letting us know that somebody's entered our blind spot. Very useful one to have. And then rear cross traffic alert, as somebody's coming perpendicular to us. So if we're going to get into a potential collision, it's going to let us know. Comfort and convenience for our chime volume as we get, there we go. For startups and headlamps and things like that, I'm just going to turn that one down. Auto wipe when we're in reverse. So if we've got our front windshield wipers going, we throw the vehicle into reverse, it's automatically going to turn our rear wiper on as well. Hill start assist, do you want it to help out? Comfort and convenience, which we've already seen. Some options for lighting. So exit lighting, when we go to lock the vehicle, do the lights just turn off automatically, stay on for 30, 60, or 120 seconds? And different options for a power door lock. So big one there is when we go to unlock the door, do all doors become unlocked or is it just the driver's door? So definitely recommend all doors is useful, but driver door for a good safety setting there as well. And then delayed door lock, as you can see there, it's going to lock the vehicle a short time after all the doors are closed. So if you forget to lock, this thing is automatically going to lock for you. Remote lock, unlock, and remote start. When you go to remote unlock, do all the lights flash or does nothing happen? Same idea, do we get the feedback for our horn? Remote door unlock. When we go to unlock, same idea. Driver door or all doors. Do we want our heated seats automatically coming on? Do we want to be able to use our remote in order to be able to open the windows? So very useful setting. Let me hop outside and show you how that one works. Press the unlock button twice, and on the second button press, you're going to hold. And then you can also press the lock button to pause it part way. But watch this. So you're going to go 1, 2, and hold. lock in order to stop it, and then same idea, you're going to double press again in order to continue the cycle. So that is really neat that that's available as an option. But one thing is that it is power down, but it's manual backup again. But it is still nice. You've got that flexibility. So really, really neat. We've got that available as an option. Passive door lock for the driver door or for all doors. So as long as you've got the key fob on you, you can automatically get into the vehicle there. And remote left in vehicle alert. So if you've accidentally left your key fob in the vehicle and you go to leave, it's going to chime at you and let you know that you've forgotten the key fob. Teen driver, if you've got a young kid, you do have the flexibility of setting up a key fob with limitations like max speed, max audio, and things like that. Valet mode, so you enter in a 4-digit number and it locks the screen out so that a valet can't click through and look through all of your different settings. So a lot of different options that are available there. We already saw Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. They're grayed out because we're not connected, but I mean, once you set your phone up again, you'd be able to connect easily there. Next up, a few basic apps. Perfect. Oh, there we go. All right. So we've got Amazon Alexa, audiobooks, Spotify, and a few others. So you do have a few that you can get and essentially download right into the car. Matter of preference and whether or not you use those things. OnStar services are available as well. So if you need turn-by-turn directions, you've got your Wi-Fi hotspot, or look at your basic account information. You can log into, go right into Spotify as well. Updates, we're going to say no to that for now. You can hop into myChevrolet, which I don't have the app. Yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So you can see what's going on with your service. So that's kind of cool. You can schedule a service right from the vehicle. You can look at plans, roadside assistance useful because if you get a flat tire, you need towing, winching, whatever the case may be, you can automatically call that right from your vehicle. And then you've got a full digital owner's manual. Cool. So if you get any sort of like weird messages on the cluster screen and you're not sure what it means, you can look through and see exactly what's going on. That's really neat. Nice. Sign in, and you've got basic settings that are available there as well. SiriusXM, which is going to give you a few, it just launches you right back into that screen. And then users, you've got the option of easily being able to create a user profile. So big benefit there is that you can have it so that it remembers your key fob. So as you open up the vehicle, it's going to remember your cell phone, it's going to remember your presets, and pretty much everything in between. So there is a process to go through to create an account. You've got to enter in a password, you've got to enter in your email address and a few other things, and accept terms and conditions and things like that. So it's very straightforward to be able to do. And then once you do, you can also select your profile there. I know, so much information, but that's everything you need to know about the media screen inside of the Chevy Equinox.